There are moments in life when heaven leans close, when the weight you've been carrying suddenly feels lighter, when a quiet voice in your spirit whispers, "This is your turning point." And this Friday, yes, this very one, carries that kind of divine weight. Not because of the day itself, but because of what is being prepared for your heart, your future, and your faith. The Friday where burdens begin to break. There are seasons in life when the weight you carry feels like it has settled into your very bones. You wake up with it, walk through your day with it, and try to sleep with it pressing on your chest. Some burdens are visible, but most are hidden behind quiet smiles, forced strength, and whispered prayers spoken in the dark. Yet there comes a Friday, a moment woven into time, when heaven begins to move in ways you cannot see but can deeply feel. This Friday carries the power to confront the heaviness that has been living inside you. It comes not as a loud announcement but as a gentle shift in the atmosphere around your heart, reminding you that the weight trying to crush you was never meant to destroy you. It was only meant to bring you to the place where surrender becomes your strength. This Friday calls your burdens by name. It addresses the things that have drained you, the fears that have paralyzed you, and the thoughts that have tried to convince you that you are alone. You are not alone. Every tear you have shed has been noticed. Every prayer you prayed through trembling lips has been heard. Every silent battle you thought no one understood has been seen. This Friday is the moment where the invisible help you've been longing for begins to strengthen you from the inside. Some days, the weight of life presses so heavily that you begin to wonder if you will ever rise again. But this is the Friday that breathes hope back into your weary soul. Your burdens do not intimidate the one who carries you. Your brokenness does not disqualify you from restoration. Your failures do not cancel your future. This Friday carries the message that your burdens have an expiration date. The pain you've endured is not the end of your story. The struggles you've faced have not gone unnoticed. Every moment of heaviness has been shaping you for a breakthrough you cannot fully see yet. This Friday is the turning point where the things that once held you down begin to lose their grip. You may have believed that your burden would be permanent, that your situation would not change, that your heart would always feel this heavy. But there is a shift happening in the unseen realm. There is a release taking place inside you long before the evidence shows on the outside. This Friday carries a promise that what has weighed you down will no longer define your pace, your mindset, or your future. Something divine is preparing to lift you in a way you could never lift yourself. Relief is not just coming, it has already begun. This Friday reminds you that
every burden you've carried has a purpose, but none were meant to stay forever. Some burdens have been teaching you strength, developing resilience, deepening compassion, and building endurance. Others have been shaping your character, purifying your intentions, and refining your heart. But none of them were designed to break you beyond repair. This Friday is the moment when the heaviness begins to release its hold, because the season that required that burden has come to an end. There is a sacred exchange taking place. Where you felt overwhelmed, peace is coming. Where you felt weak, strength is rising. Where you felt defeated, victory is stirring. Where you felt lost, clarity is approaching. This Friday brings a quiet but powerful transformation, shifting the weight from your shoulders into hands far stronger than yours. You do not have to carry everything you've been trying to keep together. You were never meant to carry it alone. This Friday speaks to the places inside you that have been aching for relief. It speaks to the heart that has been stretched thin. It speaks to the mind that has been wrestling with thoughts you wish you could silence. It speaks to the soul that has been running on empty, and it whispers,
rest, release, let go. Not because you are giving up, but because you are being lifted up. Not because the burden disappears instantly, but because you are no longer carrying it by yourself. This Friday marks the beginning of a change that starts in your spirit before it touches your circumstances. It is the moment when the heaviness inside you begins to shift. Something deep, something holy, something freeing is moving through the places that once felt weighed down beyond measure. This Friday carries the power to begin breaking the burdens you thought you would carry forever. The Friday that awakens your faith. There are moments in life when faith feels distant, like a fading echo rather than a living voice inside the heart. You pray, yet the answers seem delayed. You believe, yet the mountains seem unmoved. You hope, yet the silence around you feels louder than your expectations. But then comes a Friday, a day marked not by coincidence but by divine design, where your faith is stirred in a way you cannot fully explain. This Friday is not just a day on the calendar. It is a spiritual awakening, a moment when your dormant faith is touched by a power far beyond your own understanding. Something begins to rise within you, quiet, gentle, but undeniably alive, calling you to trust again, to believe again, to hope again. Faith is not always loud. Sometimes it is the softest whisper inside your spirit, telling you to hold on when everything else tells you to let go. This Friday speaks to that whisper. It breathes life into the small spark still flickering in your heart, the one that survived disappointments, delays, and doubts. You may have walked through seasons where your faith felt stretched to its thinnest point, where you wondered if you had anything left to give. But faith is not measured by how strong you feel. It is measured by the courage to keep believing even when the evidence hasn't caught up yet. And this Friday is the moment where that courage begins to rise again. This Friday calls you into a deeper trust, not just trust in outcomes, but trust in a higher hand guiding your journey. It invites you to release your fears, your reasoning, and your attempts to control everything. There is a peace that comes only when you surrender what you cannot understand. Faith is not blindness, it is confidence in a promise spoken before the foundation of your life. This Friday reminds you that the promise still stands. Even when circumstances contradict it, even when time tests it, even when your heart struggles to hold on to it. The promise is alive, and your faith is being called to rise and stand with it once again. You may have been looking at closed doors and wondering why they never opened. But what you see as a closed door may actually be divine protection. What you interpret as a delay may be divine preparation. What you feel is a setback may be a setup for something greater than you envisioned. This Friday brings clarity to your spirit. It whispers that every moment of waiting has been working for your good. Faith is not simply believing that things will happen. It is believing that they are being worked out in ways you cannot yet see. And this Friday awakens that confidence inside you. Your faith is about to see what your eyes could not. This Friday strengthens you, not just for blessings, but for the process that leads to those blessings. It prepares your heart to walk boldly into the unknown, trusting that every step is guided. It invites you to believe beyond what you feel, beyond what you see, beyond what you understand. Faith is rising inside you, not the kind that is shaken by storms, but the kind that can speak to storms. Not the kind that collapses under pressure, but the kind that is refined through pressure. This Friday is shaping your faith into something unshakable. There are battles you faced that seemed unending, struggles that made you question your purpose, and losses that wounded you deeply. Yet through it all, something in you refused to die: your hope. Even when you doubted, even when you cried, even when you questioned everything, a small flame remained. This Friday breathes fresh wind on that flame, turning it into a fire that cannot be extinguished. Your faith is not weak simply because you've struggled. Your faith is strong because you've endured. And this Friday is awakening a level of belief that will carry you into breakthroughs only strong faith can unlock. This Friday reminds you that faith is not about perfection. It is about direction. You may stumble, but you're still moving forward. You may question, but you're still seeking. You may fear, but you're still stepping. Every small act of trust is seen. Every quiet prayer is heard. Every moment you choose hope over despair builds the spiritual strength you need for what's coming. This Friday awakens the awareness that your faith is not fragile. It is growing, maturing, deepening, strengthening. Inside you, something sacred is being revived. The doubts that once clouded your vision are losing their grip. The fears that once controlled you are weakening. The confusion that once overwhelmed you is fading. Your spirit is becoming sharper, clearer, more attuned to the voice leading you. This Friday calls forth a faith that is alive, active, and expectant. A faith ready to see miracles, ready to receive answers, ready to walk into promises long awaited. This Friday that awakens your faith is preparing you to rise into the fullness of what has been planned for your life. It is stirring a belief that cannot be shaken by circumstances, a trust that does not waver in storms, and a hope that shines even in the darkest nights. It is calling you to step into a new level of spiritual strength, a deeper level of dependence, and a higher level of confidence in the path prepared for you. The Friday that opens the door to a new beginning. Life often moves in seasons, and some of the most profound shifts happen quietly, almost imperceptibly, until one day you realize everything has changed. There is a Friday that holds that kind of sacred power, a day that is not ordinary but ordained, a moment that invites you to step into something greater than what you have known. This Friday is more than a marker of the week. It is a doorway, a threshold into new beginnings, fresh starts, and divine opportunities. It is a day that calls you to leave behind the past, to release the weight of old disappointments, and to step forward with courage into what has been prepared for you. The doors opening on this day are not just physical or circumstantial. They are spiritual, emotional, and mental, shaping a new reality that aligns with the promises whispered over your life long before you understood them. Every ending carries within it the seeds of a new beginning, and this Friday is that moment where endings meet beginnings. The challenges you faced, the obstacles you overcame, the times you thought you could not continue, each of these experiences has been preparing you for the doors about to swing open. Sometimes we cling to the familiar, even when it is painful, because stepping into the unknown requires courage we feel we do not possess. But this Friday encourages you to trust the unseen, to walk into new territory even when you cannot see the entire path. Doors are opening not because you are ready, but because the moment has come, and the grace needed to walk through them is already present. A new beginning is not only about changing circumstances, it is about transformation from the inside out. This Friday carries the power to renew your mind, restore your spirit, and realign your heart with purpose. The past, with all its trials and mistakes, has shaped your understanding, resilience, and faith. But it does not define the story ahead. There is a freshness about this day that allows you to step forward, unencumbered by regret, fear, or doubt. You are being invited to embrace a new chapter, to walk boldly into the life that has been waiting for you, and to trust that every step is guided. Often, we wait for a sign, a signal, or a confirmation that it is safe to move forward. This Friday is that confirmation. It is the quiet, unmistakable presence in your spirit that says, "This is your moment. This is your time." Every prayer you have spoken, every longing you have carried, every seed of hope you planted in faith has been preparing the way for this very day. The doors opening now are the culmination of all those unseen efforts, the quiet obedience, and the perseverance that has kept your heart steady even when nothing seemed to move. You are being called into a season where what has been promised begins to manifest. New beginnings require leaving something behind. There is a release that must happen in order for new opportunities to be fully received. This Friday is urging you to let go of old fears, unhealthy attachments, and outdated ways of thinking. These things no longer serve the purpose of your growth. What you leave behind will not be lost. It will be transformed into lessons, wisdom, and strength that will guide you into the doors now opening. Freedom comes when you trust the process, when you step forward without carrying unnecessary baggage, and when you believe that what lies ahead is better than what you leave behind. The Friday that opens the door to a new beginning is also a call to courage. Change is rarely comfortable, and stepping into something new often requires faith that surpasses understanding. It asks you to trust that what is coming is better than what you are leaving, to believe that every obstacle you overcame was preparing you for this moment, and to walk forward even when the path is not yet fully clear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the determination to move forward in spite of it. This Friday is a reminder that courage, when coupled with faith, can unlock doors that seem impossible to open on your own. This day also invites you to embrace hope. Hope is the heartbeat of new beginnings. It is the expectation that good things are on the horizon, even when the evidence has not yet appeared. This Friday carries a fresh wind of hope over your life, reminding you that the past is not the measure of your future, that yesterday's disappointments do not dictate today's opportunities, and that the best chapters of your life are still being written. Your heart is being prepared to receive joy, peace, and blessings in ways that were previously unimaginable, and every door opening now is a testament to the faith, perseverance, and patience that have carried you this far. This Friday is a sacred invitation to step into alignment with what has been prepared for you. It is a day that encourages movement, transformation, and forward momentum. The doors opening are not random. They are purposeful, intentional, and full of potential. They call you to leave behind what is comfortable but no longer life-giving, and to step into what is promising, abundant, and divinely orchestrated. Your life is being guided into a season where new beginnings are not just possible but inevitable.